These days, everybody would like to get into selling luxury real estate. Even these people would like to get into selling luxury real estate. But there are some things that just come along with selling luxury properties that you really should anticipate and be aware of before you start marketing multi-million-dollar properties. By the way, my name is Sarah Mesley. I'm a broker associate in San Diego, California. I would love to serve your San Diego referrals. I've been selling properties for 15 years, and I'm with Real Broker. Okay, the first thing that I want to talk about when it comes to luxury real estate, or the first common misconception, is where people actually find high net worth individuals. I used to train a lot of new real estate agents, and I have seen this revolving door of agents coming in who happen to know a lot of wealthy people, and they would assume that they would be instantly successful because they know wealthy people. It's not enough to know wealthy people, they also have to like you, but most importantly, they have to trust you and feel that you are going to do the best job for them. They can like you as a friend, but still find you as a weak individual when it comes to things like negotiation, and they won't hire you. But let's say you don't know anybody that is wealthy. Where do you begin? It is not by paying for leads. Do not waste your money on things like Zillow leads if you are looking to sell luxury properties. It is also not by faking a luxury lifestyle. And this is a common misconception that I see. I see so many real estate agents who believe that they have to go out and lease a luxury vehicle or buy a designer handbag because they feel that when the luxury clients come, when the high net worth individual clients come, they want to be there to impress them. But the reality is people who have a lot of money are not necessarily impressed by you buying a Louis Vuitton bag. They want to see your knowledge. They want you to demonstrate why you would be the best person for this job and how you can help them get what they want. So, if you don't know anybody who is a high net worth individual, where do you find them? Learn to play golf. I'm not even joking with that one. There are so many wealthy people that enjoy playing golf, boating, sailing, even at a country club. So a lot of people are at country clubs, so you can either join one or you can start going to some of their events. A lot of the local country clubs will put on monthly mixers or Thursday night steak dinners or things like that, and you can see if you would be able to go and start meeting these people. Also understanding the mindset, if you are truly intimidated by the idea of selling, say, a $2 or $3 million property, then that opportunity is most likely not going to come your way. So if right now your average price point is, say, $500,000 and you'd just really like to sell your first $1 million listing, maybe that is a great place to start by breaking into that market where it's like just slightly above what you're used to, as opposed to saying, I'm used to selling $500,000 properties, so now I want to go target $5 million homes. You may simply not be confident or prepared in that yet, but that doesn't mean that you can't get there. One thing that differs when it comes to luxury real estate and maybe your standard sale is going to be expectations. That is not to say that every client of yours does not deserve amazing service, because they all do. But if you are going to break into luxury real estate, you're going to have to become much more detail-oriented than you have ever been. And this is something that truly I had to learn over the last 15 years. You have to be willing to work long hours. You have to be willing to work almost any day that is required. You have to be willing to do things correct and fix them if you don't do them correct the first time. And then one other expectation that I need you to have is selling luxury real estate is not necessarily free. So if you have a luxury listing, you are going to need to put money into marketing it. Just putting it on the multiple listing service and then hoping that somebody comes to your $3 or $4 million listing is truly not enough. Let me give you an example. I have a $2.25 million listing in Carlsbad, California. It's now in escrow, but instead of a one-page brochure, I designed these 4-page little booklets, which are beautiful and really demonstrate the details about the property. But here is the detail-oriented and willing to spend money aspect. So a day or so before we were about to list the property, I got these printed, and they're about $500 because I ordered a bunch of them. I wanted to make sure, because we were doing a luxury open house event, which is a whole other thing, like rented an ice cream booth and just all of this stuff. I wanted to make sure that I had plenty of flyers. Now, I noticed a little typo like the day before our launch. And one of my friends in real estate said, why don't you just put a sticker over it? You can get like a little white sticker, and just correct it and put it over. And I thought, absolutely not. Everything must be perfect. Now, you don't have to stress about that, but but just putting the extra effort. So immediately I went and revised it and had it reprinted, and I was okay with spending that extra money because it is important when you are marketing a luxury property that things are not that things do not have typos, that things are not incorrect. You really need to go the extra mile and pay attention to detail. Next, when it comes to selling luxury properties, as I mentioned, you have to be prepared to put some money in, whether it is paid ads online, or a great example would be a luxury open house event, if your seller is, of course, willing to allow this. So one of the things that I did recently was to actually have a local ice cream company that creates custom ice cream cones come for both days of our open house, essentially have the open house catered. Everybody who came by got free ice cream, sponsored by me. And the other reason that I chose ice cream is because we were able to facilitate everything being served outside. It was very important to me that we did not have people eating in the home. I know it is like a common theme that in a lot of your open houses on a standard property, maybe you have cookies or like a cheese tray or something like that inside. Most of the time people do not touch those, by the way. They're not that exciting to them. But sometimes when they do, it's like kids and they're like spilling a cracker and then they're stepping all over that cracker. And I understand that things are going to happen, but you don't want to be in the position where you miss something and then your client comes home and then there's a mess on the floor. So it is best to kind of like think these things through ahead of time and plan so that the property and your client are well respected. Another thing to think about when it comes to marketing luxury real estate is telling a story. So luxury real estate is interesting in the sense that there may not always be an appraisal, and pricing a luxury listing is not necessarily the same as pricing a cookie cutter home that's, say, under $1 million, where you're going almost purely based on comparables. The custom property, you have to factor in the materials and you have to factor in different things a little bit more so. This is where telling the story becomes really important in reaching and influencing that high net worth individual buyer. Instead of just listing a property and saying this is a really beautiful, large home and here are the materials in the home, that sounds very boring and sterile. So for example, with something like this listing, we really focused on the lifestyle that this home would provide. So number one, we started with the area. This starts even in the listing description. We mentioned how close things like Equinox are. And we mentioned the local coffee shop. We mentioned the beach. We mentioned the fact that they had the PGA Championships right around the corner from this listing. So you have to kind of paint the lifestyle of what someone living here would get to enjoy. Telling a story can be done both in your listing description and it can also be done in a video. There was a time when videos for real estate listings were like a really unique thing, like almost nobody was doing them, and now they're almost standard. However, it is important to make sure that your listings for your luxury properties are really a step above. They should describe the property, describe the lifestyle, and show the best features. One more thing when it comes to luxury real estate. When you have a high net worth individual client, you may have some different instructions than you've had before with your standard home. For example, I recently had a listing with some very expensive cars in the garage, and one of our instructions was to make sure that every person is accompanied into the garage and that nobody touches those cars. I think that that is a very reasonable expectation, but you can't just have a situation like that where you randomly give out a code and allow any agent to show it without being accompanied. And you can't have an open house where you're just sitting down in the kitchen and you're on your cell phone, just like editing videos or something like that. You have to be fully present, fully aware, and making sure that you honor the seller's request at all times. Yes, you want to honor the seller's request at all time with any listing, but understand that there may be different requests when you get into higher priced homes. I hope that this was helpful. What questions do you have about luxury real estate or anything about real estate at all? You can comment it below. And of course, if you are thinking about buying or selling a property in San Diego, I would love to help. You can call or text me, and have a great day. Thanks.